De ce trebuie să fie orașele și localitățile în care trăim inteligente? Simplu pentru noi. Varianta mai elaborată a răspunsului include și conceptul de calitate a vieții. O urbe în care lucrurile se mișcă coerent și oamenii se pot bucura de tot felul de facilități care le fac viața mai bună și mai sigură, este o tendință pe care o descoperim în tot mai multe locuri din lume și care apare și la noi, încet, dar sigur. Tom Leene este președintele Camerei de Comerţ Olandezo-Române și discutăm împreună aceste subiecte pentru că țara lui are chiar și o strategie națională pentru orașe inteligente. Sunt Cristina Cileacu. Începe Pașaport Diplomatic. Tom Leene, the president of the Netherlands-Romanian Chamber of Commerce and also CEO of a very big company in Romania. Welcome to Diplomatic Passport.
Thank you for having me.
Sunt 5 piloni pe care se sprijină Strategia Națională Olandeză pentru orașele inteligente, care a început deja să fie pusă în practică inclusiv în zonele rurale, nu doar în cele urbane. Primul element este infrastructura digitală standardizată și sigură, deci conexiuni de internet cu viteze mari și de înaltă calitate, care să asigure un trafic bun volumului mare de date. Al doilea pilon este reprezentat de parteneriatul public-privat, adică o colaborare reală între autoritățile statului, zona de afaceri și cea academică, care să fie deschisă ideilor noi. Pilonul cu numărul 3 este modelul de guvernare făcut în colaborare cu oamenii și care îi pune pe cetățeni în centrul atenției. Al patrulea element esențial pentru un oraș inteligent ține de educație și capacitatea de a oferi locuri de muncă. Ultimul pilon, al cincilea, este cooperarea regională, adică lucrul între localități într-o anumită zonă, care pot forma o rețea.
I have to say that you choose this spot of our set today for the filming is Calea Victoriei, București, and we will be talking a bit about the smart cities. And your country, your Prime Minister Mark Rutte, actually asked 3 years ago to have a strategy, a national strategy for smart cities. Why this very high interest for this topic in your country?
Well, I think in the end it all comes down to the fact that we are a really small country here, but have a population nearly the same as Romania. So we kind of have to be smart in what we use our land for. And a lot of studies have shown in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam for instance, that congestion really comes from overusing that last couple of percent. So up to 95% all the roads remain clear. It's that last little bit, for instance, that congests a city. If you can take that away, then you can really win a lot of benefits from that. And especially on those kind of typical pressure points, they want to come up with a solution now. And I think that the Prime Minister indeed has put it very adequately by putting a strategy for that, because that's where it all starts, of course.
And how exactly is this strategy put in place in your country?
Well, in the end, it all comes down to what do we want in 20 or 30 years from now. So we really need to set out a vision. That's where we want to be. And if that vision is finally clear, only then you can set the smart objectives to actually become to that vision. So if it's about congestion, but also about air pollution, for instance, or noise pollution, or whatever we want to track, it all comes down to what do we want to do in the future, where do we want to be, and from there set out the clear objectives.
Denumirea de oraș inteligent ne duce cu gândul la lucruri care pot să pară futuriste, dar care sunt mai simplu de realizat decât credem. Într-o primă fază este vorba despre îmbinarea armonioasă a modalităților de transport dintr-o urbe, chiar dacă lipsește controlul digital. Pe stradă ar trebui să aibă loc toată lumea, cei care folosesc bicicleta, trotineta sau scuterul, mașinile, iar trotuarele să fie suficient de late pentru cei care aleg mersul pe jos. Proporțiile în care se împarte strada pentru aceste categorii diferă de la țară la țară, dar tendința este să se facă mai mult spațiu pentru oameni, nu pentru trafic.
Since you choose this spot for our filming today, and we look around, do you see something that could be linked to a smart city?
Yes, I think so. A lot of things actually. That's why I love this street, but especially this spot because it has so many things at once. We see, of course, a lot of traffic coming by here, a lot of cars coming by, but we also have here a bicycle lane, which we, of course, as Dutch people, really encourage to have. So I'm really glad that we can see those in Bucharest and coming more and more.
Unfortunately, it's one of very few of Bucharest. I have to say that.
True. However, I do see that that it's been taken into account with every new street that's being built, every new street that's designed, let's say. You see that there's room for different types of transportation, including bike, which I fully encourage, of course. So the mindset is becoming different, and that's something really positive. And I think from a smart perspective, of course, we see bikes here, we also see those little scooters here. All new ways of transportation. I mean, the scooters have been here for the last 2 years, maybe not even, but now we cannot imagine anymore that we don't have them. So I think those kind of technologies happen really fast, and it's the responsibility of the government and also the local authorities to make sure that they can implement it in a safe way towards in the city. And I think that indeed in this street that is done in a really nice way.
La întrebarea ce mai faci, de regulă spunem bine. Considerăm acest dialog scurt o formalitate, o deschidere de discuție pe care o folosim înainte să trecem la alte subiecte. Să faci bine înseamnă de fapt un cumul de lucruri pe care tindem să le ignorăm. Respirăm aer curat? Ne petrecem timpul în liniște și calm sau în vacarm de claxoane și sirene? Ne simțim în siguranță când mergem prin oraș sau facem slalom printre mașinile parcate pe trotuar? Avem loc pe stradă cu bicicleta sau trebuie să fim mereu atenți la șoferii grăbiți? Apa pe care o bem de la robinet este curată sau nu? Lista de întrebări despre chestiuni care par mărunte este lungă, dar răspunsurile ne oferă o imagine despre calitatea vieții noastre. În timp ce Olanda este în topul țărilor europene la acest capitol, calitatea vieții din România ne plasează pe ultimul loc între statele membre UE.
Smart cities also linked as well to the quality of life, and quality of life should be also a concept that is going to be in every strategy to the national level, or it should be at least. How is it going in the case of the Netherlands?
I think that this is one of the major topics indeed, quality of life. It all comes down to if air pollution is not on a high level according to the standards, noise pollution of course. People should feel safe and healthy in their own environment, and I think that's where it all starts, because it's one of the basic needs that we have. If I see that in the Netherlands, they are actively trying to, especially with air pollution, trying to overcome that by making sure that streets are more public friendly, less for cars, making sure that congestion is led away from the city, and those kind of solutions should be more implemented here as well. And I'm not talking just about Bucharest, but also about the little villages. As we have already talked about, I go cycling a lot, and then I see a lot of times that the major street in a city is always the busiest for the cars as well, which I think it should be the other way around. So the major cities, the major streets in the cities should be the least amount of cars. It should be all diverted in other ways. And I think those kind of solutions is what we are really looking for.
România are nevoie de investiții străine. Auzim acest enunț de mai bine de 30 de ani și vom continua să-l auzim, pentru că este adevărat. Evoluția unui stat depinde și de afacerile pe care străinii le dezvoltă pe teritoriul lui. Olandezii au în România un număr uriaș de investiții și am vrut să aflăm de ce le place atât de mult la noi.
I said in the beginning of our discussion that you are the president of the Netherlands-Romanian Chamber of Commerce, so let's talk a bit about business as well.
Yeah.
If I would ask you if Romania is a good business environment, probably you will say yes, because you are here already for something like 3 years?
Yes, okay. A little over, yes.
A little over 3 years. So I will ask you, why is Romania a good spot to invest comparing with, let's say, our neighbors?
Yes, I am indeed a little bit biased, so I would always say that Romania has the best opportunity. But I really truly believe so, and I think that if we compare Romania to other countries around, which doesn't reflect so much to the other countries that are being poor or anything, I just think that Romania has geographically saying a perfect location, the Black Sea of course, with Mamaia as a major port towards Eastern Europe, also the connection with Turkey and the Asian part could be really a central hub over here in Romania. So I think from a geographic perspective it's already a great location. But next to that, I think that one of the major benefits of being in Romania is definitely the people that are here. There's a high-skilled labor force, high-skilled for our case, for instance, engineers that are professional, serious about their work, a good, solid community and a solid foundation, and also a stable environment. So I think all of that really benefits towards Romania in comparison with others, of course. I think it's just one of the best places around, yes.
Well, since you've been here so long, I also imagine that you were in touch with all those many governments we had in this period of time. And my question is, how is for the business community this changing of politics, this too often changing of politics, and how do you keep the communication open with the authorities when they are changing so often?
Yeah, I think that's a very delicate situation and a very delicate question to answer. Of course, the government is elected, so we have to respect an elected authorities in every way possible. What I've seen, especially at the beginning when I got here, was a government back then that were making decisions and implementing them quite fast. Too fast for the business society to adapt to them. So I think they could have reaped much more benefits from it if they would have collaborated with the business society, business associations around them, and come up together with implementing those rules. I remember one time 3 years ago that I had to go back towards my leadership team in the Netherlands, stating that I'm not sure what will happen with the employee contracts for next year in terms of costs. And they said, yeah, but Tom, it's November. You cannot not know that. I said, yeah, it's not my fault. It's not known yet in the country. And that is killing for long-term investments, such as we do, because we need stability. We need a stable environment. Of course, we are not here to just be here for a little bit of time and only reap the benefits and then gone again. No, we have been here for 20 years and we'll be here for the next 20 years as well. So we need to make sure that it's a stable environment for us to make our plans also for that type of time.
Polder model este o noțiune cât se poate de olandeză. Se referă de fapt la deciziile bazate pe consens între toate părțile implicate într-un proces. De exemplu, sindicate și patronate, guvern și societate civilă și așa mai departe, în funcție de situație. Ideea de bază a acestui model este că se caută împreună cea mai bună soluție a unei probleme, care să fie gândită și analizată din toate perspectivele. Durează mai mult până se ajunge la o decizie, dar rezultatul este pe măsură.
Can you explain to the Romanian public that type of model that the Dutch people have, the polder model?
Yes, of course. Well, polder is actually
work.
Yes. As you know, a lot of our country, actually, a majority of our country is below sea level. Yep. In order to protect ourselves from the water, we needed to make sure that we have the dikes set up, we have special aggregation systems that retrieve the water. But every time you would make an adjustment at one place, that would affect another place. So these places all around the country would really have to work together to make sure that together we hold the water against us. That's where the polder model comes from, the collaboration that we seek with other parties around us, making sure that we benefit as a whole and not so much just one place, but everybody needs to benefit from it. And I think that polder model has become bigger than just in defending ourselves to water. It has also got his reasoning in the politics, and I think it is a well worked out idea in the Netherlands that politicians, the authorities, work together with the business society, but also with, for instance, universities and schools, and also with people in neighborhoods to make sure that whenever they implement rules or whenever they come up with rules, they first make sure that they're solid, they're sound, and they would really make sure that they understand what the impact would be. The best way to do that is to talk to these other parties around you to make sure that they have given their input on what their impact is, and it creates that you are much more well thought out of the plans that you have, but it also creates a lot more buy-in from everybody around you. And I think that this is something that definitely in Romania can have so much more impact. And I must admit that the current government has done so much more in making sure that they combine all their efforts together with the population around them, and making sure that everybody feels at least supported in their visions.
But doesn't it take longer when you have to ask each and every part to be part of the decision?
Yeah, I think that's the downfall of the situation. We love to discuss, and we are a discussing country. I think yes, that's where you sometimes not move as fast as you would like to move it, but at least it makes sure that whenever we do make a decision and we do have a way forward, that's really supported by everybody and really implemented. So it may seem slow in the short term, but it actually contributes in the long term.
Let's get back a bit to the to the Netherlands-Romanian Chamber of Commerce. What is your main purpose as a Romanian Netherlands Chamber of Commerce?
We are a members association founded and supported by all members that have either a Dutch route or a Dutch link towards them. So that could be that there's Romanian companies that do work in the Netherlands. It could be that there's a supporting company for a Dutch company that is already here. But in any way a link between the bilateral trade. As you know, the Dutch are one of the biggest investors here in Romania. So there's many companies, from big companies to really small entrepreneurs, that come over here and invest in Romania. And we are here to support all of them. We have a membership of around 200 companies in total, and we are here to advocate on behalf of them, making sure that we share our knowledge between ourselves, but also making sure that we can share our knowledge with the Romanian authorities or advocate for them in any other way.
And is it simple to function like this in Romania?
Yes, it is. Well, it's. I can see that it's really appreciated to function like this in Romania. I see that we are filling a need that is there, not just from the organizations, but also really from the authorities and also from other organizations around us. That in that collaboration that we just mentioned before. That is highly appreciated because it's a soundboard for every new plan that we come up with in this country, and I think that companies as a whole should have a say in Romania and should be able to advise the Romanian public, but also the authorities on certain legislation, for instance.
Intrarea României în zona Schengen a fost mereu legată de criticile aduse de Olanda privind neîndeplinirea completă a condițiilor. Timpul a dovedit că aveau și olandezii dreptatea lor. Pandemia de coronavirus a închis multe granițe și a îngreunat circulația liberă, inclusiv între statele Schengen. Dar discuția nu este încheiată și intrarea României în acest spațiu este susținută de tot mai multe voci.
And how does affect the business community from the Dutch side as well, not only from the Romanian, because we know that part, the fact that Romania is still not in the Schengen area, which is something your country has to do with it. But from the politics side, let's underline this.
Yes, yeah, I cannot state for the politicians, of course, in this case. I can only say from a business perspective, we would welcome Romania into the Schengen collaboration, of course, because we would love to have the borders open for all countries, and we are supporting the bilateral trade, but also trade with other countries around us. So from a business perspective, we can only ask, of course, the politicians to come together and making sure that they do whatever it needed. And I think there's still a couple of small things that they needed to be worked out, and they do whatever they are needed to do to make sure that we can open the borders, because I think it would benefit both of us, Romania as well as the entire EU.
Tom, to end this discussion in a more personal note, since you do a lot of sport, how is Romania from this point of view?
Yeah, for
as
me.
you see it?
Yeah, interesting. I really fell in love with Romania and with its environment. Of course, you've been to the Netherlands, you've seen how flat it is over there. We don't have any hills, we don't have any mountains.
Nothing to climb on.
Nothing to climb on. I'm a big fan of cycling, but also of triathlons, and for that Romania is amazing. I went yesterday on a cycling match in Petrosa, and then you can really feel the beauty around you, feel the amazing sights that Romania has to offer. I always tell this to all my friends in the Netherlands that please come on over, and whenever you do come over, bring your bike or bring your hiking gear, because we're going to go into the mountains. It is absolutely amazing to see, and I think that Romania is one of the hidden gems still of Europe that we could show much more people still.
But are we ready to, I don't know, to engage with other people doing sports for fun? Are we prepared for that?
I think so, yes, absolutely. If I saw what was happening yesterday, a really well organized race, completely planned out in a safe environment, even in the pandemic times, they were making sure that everybody was really safe, a lot of support from local police officers and authorities. So I think that collaboration there is definitely done in a constructive way for everybody. So I think it's definitely ready for the next steps in that, and I think Romania already has a lot of big races in things that I participate in, for instance triathlons. We can already see how much responsibility and authority is already there. So I think that they are doing an absolutely great job on making sure that that it's on a decent level, and also for international athletes to come here and participate.
Tom, thank you so much for this interview and for the work on Calea Victoriei.
Thank you.
Atât pentru astăzi, dar rămânem în continuare online pe pagina de Facebook a emisiunii și pe contul nostru de Twitter. Revenim cu subiecte noi din lumea diplomației și a politicii externe vinerea viitoare de la ora obișnuită 11:30 și în reluare sâmbătă de la 22:30. La revedere!